بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. So we return to, after some time off for the month of Ramadan and a week or so, a few weeks thereafter, to the study of this book, Kitaab At-Tawheed, the Shaykh Al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdil Wahaab alayhi rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, we are beginning today a new chapter. That is Bab Ad-Du'a ila Shahadati and La ilaha illallah. Chapter, the call to testify that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Allah. وقوله تعالى قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة. And the statement of Allah the Exalted, say, this is my path, I call unto Allah upon basira, upon clear insight. Shaykh Ubaid Al Jabirī, he mentions an explanation of this chapter heading and an explanation of the ayah that comes along with it. He said, هذه الترجمة تدل على أن مصنف رحمه الله يقصد أشياء. That this chapter heading indicates that the author, he intends certain things, meaning that the ordering of the chapters inside of this book is not a random ordering. And the wording of the chapter headings is not some random wording. Rather, there's an intent behind it. Even if you look at the arrangement of the chapters, what chapter comes after which chapter, you find it to be completely appropriate to come after the chapter that it came after. And similarly, you find the titles of the chapter headings to be completely appropriate. And they have things within them that are benefits in of themselves. When كانت داخلة ضمن الأبواب. And so these things that we mentioned that are not random, the wordings of the chapter headings, the titles, similarly the ordering and arrangement of the chapters, this affair you find even to be inside of the chapters themselves. Lakin, he said, however, بتأمل هذه الترجمة. He said, by way of contemplating over and reflecting upon this chapter heading, Bab Ad-Du'a, a chapter, the affair of Ad-Du'a إلى شهادة لا إله إلا الله والنظر في شروح أهل العلم من أئمة الدعوة وممن جاء بعضهم لتحصلوا من مقاصد الشيخ. He says, by way of reflecting upon the chapter heading and looking into the explanations of the people of knowledge from the Imams of the Blessed Da'wah and those who came after them, then we're going to be able to extract from that the maqasid of the Shaykh are as follows. The maqasid of the Shaykh in this chapter heading specifically are as follows. The first objective of the Shaykh, by way of him bringing this chapter, is a tanbih إلى أن تحقيق الشهادتين علما وعملا هو أول ما يدعى إليه. Is that the actualization of these two testimonies, to actualize the testimony that La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah by way of knowledge and action, this is the first of that which alika wa asl usul, and that is the foundation of all foundations. That the actualization of the two testimonies, the testimony of the Tawheed of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and His oneness in all of its aspects, and the testimony to the Risaalah Muhammad alayhi wasallam, to the actualization of that, it's the first of that which must be called to. Secondly, a tanbih إلى أن من وفقه الله سبحانه وتعالى وهداه إلى دين الحق الذي أساسه التوحيد لا ينبغي أن يقتصر على نفسه. The second objective that we are able to extract from this chapter heading is that it draws attention to the fact that whoever Allah Ta'ala has granted his tawfiq to and has guided to the true religion, not like this false and this clothing brand that is out there called true religion, which is, I mean, we don't find to be permissible to even wear. This is a side note, as the horseshoe type of a logo that it has in reality, it is by way of the testimony of the founders of this company, the Buddha, the smile of Buddha. The smile of Buddha. And you find some Muslims wearing this clothing brand. We don't intend this when we say the true religion, haq. Rather, whoever Allah Ta'ala has granted tawfiq and guided to the true religion, the deen al-haq, meaning the deen of al-Islam, the foundation of which is At-Tawhīd, that it is not befitting for him to suffice with himself only. I mean, he tried to restrict the benefit to himself and not share it with others. Rather, ينبغي أن يعم بنفعه وما أفاده غيره. Rather, it is proper and befitting that he seeks to make their general benefit, or make their benefit general, and share what he has benefited from with others. وهذه هي طريق النبيين والمرسلين وأصحابهم وأتباعهم. And this is the path of the prophets and messengers, their companions, and their followers. That we don't simply treat Islam as though it is a social club and we don't want to share it with others. We don't treat the Sunnah, the Salafiyah that Allah Ta'ala has blessed us and favored us with, as though it's some secret society. Rather, we want this good for others. We want this good for others. So we strive to share it with others and call others to it. And we're able to see this from the chapter heading. It is called chapter, the call to the testimony that La ilaha illallah, indicating that we call others to this good that Allah Ta'ala has favored us with. Al-Maqsad al-Thalith, the third of them, يجب أن يكون داعية على بصيرة. It is obligatory that the caller to Allah Ta'ala be upon basira. He's not upon jahal. He's not upon ignorance. He's not upon hawa, upon desire. Rather, he is upon basira, and that basira, Shaykh Ubaid says, هي الفقه في الدين. It is to have sound understanding of the religion, calling to Allah Ta'ala upon that. You have to have knowledge of what you're calling to. Not just a desire to call, not just a desire to be listened to and heard. Rather, you have fiqh fi deen. You have understanding of what you're calling the people to. This is what he means by calling upon the basira. Because some of the people, they call, they have a desire for good. Perhaps they have some energy, but they have no ilm, no knowledge, no basira, no fiqh in the religion. And the person like this, who seeks to involve him or herself in dawah, they will do more harm than they do good. They will do more harm than they do good. Perhaps they will desire to benefit someone and they harm them instead. So the Salaf would say, beware of befriending the ignorant fool. Because the ignorant fool will want to benefit you, but they will harm you instead of benefiting you. Ignorantly. So ignorance does. So when we call to Allah Ta'ala, you must have insight, you must have basira, meaning fiqh in the religion. You understand the religion properly, as it should be understood. You understand what it is that you're calling the people to. This is a characteristic of the da'iyah. He has ilm, his knowledge, his fiqh and understanding of that knowledge. He has wisdom, he knows the methods and the means of da'wah, understands the targheeb wa tarheeb. He understands how to encourage and how to similarly instill fear within the people. of Allah Ta'ala, and he knows when to do what, and he puts each in their proper places. This is wisdom. This is wisdom. Calling to Allah Ta'ala upon that. He said that, and that fiqh in the religion, it is derived from the book, from the sunnah, from the sirat al-salaf al-salih, and the path of the salaf al-salih. والحسن البصري رحمه الله قول نفيس حكاه عنه الشارح الشيخ عبد الرحمن بن حسن رحمهم الله. Hassan al-Basri, he has an extremely beneficial statement that was reported by the explainer of Kitaab At-Tawheed, Abdul Rahman ibn Hassan, the grandson of the author. May Allah Ta'ala mercy upon him and all of his progeny. In his great explanation of Kitaab At-Tawheed, known as Fath al-Majid, he advised everyone who was studying this book, Fath al-Majid, amongst the most beautiful books that you ever want to come across, and amongst the most beneficial and detailed explanations of Kitaab At-Tawheed, explained by the grandson of the author of the book. So he brings the statement of Hassan al-Basri inside of his explanation of Kitaab At-Tawheed, entitled again Fath al-Majid Bisharhi Kitaab At-Tawheed, and the narration, it was brought by Abdul Razak inside of his book At-Tafsir. Hassan al-Basri, he said regarding this ayah, the ayah of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So who is better in speech than the one who calls to Allah Ta'ala and works righteousness and says, I am amongst the Muslims? He said, هَذَا حَبِيبُ اللَّهِ. Hassan al-Basri said, the one who's like this, he is the Habib of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. هَذَا وَلِيُّ اللَّهِ. He is the wali of Allah. And as the wali of Allah, as you mentioned before, every mu'min taqi, the believer who has taqwa, this is him. هَذَا صَفْوَةُ اللَّهِ. These are the chosen ones of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. هَذَا خِيرَةُ اللَّهِ. This is the elite of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. هَذَا حَبُّ أَهْلُ الْأَرْضِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. And the one who is like this, he is the most beloved of the people of the earth, to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. أَجَابَ اللَّهِ فِي دَعْوَتِي. For he has responded to the call of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. وَدَعَ النَّاسِ إِلَى مَا أَجَابَ اللَّهِ فِيهِ مِنْ دَعْوَتِي. And thereafter he called the people to that which he himself has responded to Allah Ta'ala in. وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فِي جَابَتِهِ وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And he has worked righteousness in that response of his, and he has said, إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. I am amongst the Muslims. هَذَا خَلِيفَةُ اللَّهِ. That is the vicegerent of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. هذه 9 خصال استنبطها الحسن. So here you have 9 characteristics that Hassan al-Basri has extracted from this verse. And he is an imam from the imams of the Tabi'een. Hassan al-Basri, well known and attested to as having imamate amongst the Muslims. And from those aforementioned characteristics that have come in the ayah is that da'a ilallah, that he called to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. This Habib of Allah, this vicegerent of Allah Ta'ala, the one with all of these qualities that Hassan al-Basri mentioned, amongst those is that he calls to Allah Ta'ala. Amila salihan, he works righteousness. Istaslama, he yields and submits to the deen of Islam, by him saying, Innani min al-Muslimin, I am indeed amongst the Muslims. And in this lies holding fast to the Kitaab At-Tawheed, and likewise holding fast to the Sunnah. When qila fika ma qil, no matter what the people say about you, they can say that you're Sunnah police, they can say whatever they want to say. They can say whatever they want to say. As Shaykh Ubaid, he will say, Rahimahullah, let my enemies say whatever they want. Let them say whatever they want. For my sins are many, and my good deeds are few. So say whatever you want about Ahl Sunnah. Say what you like about us. It's not going to deter us. And our sins, our shortcomings are many. And our good deeds are few. So if you wish to give us your good deeds by way of revilement, by way of your slander, and your ill speech about Ahl Sunnah, then go ahead and give them to us. And if you wish to take some of our shortcomings and our sins and place them upon your own backs, then feel free to do so. Say what you want about Ahl Sunnah. It will not stop us in our pursuit of the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. He says, فَإِنَّ السَّلَفِيِّينَ أَهْلَ السُّنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ هُمْ أَعْرَفُ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. For indeed the Salafis, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, are the most knowledgeable of the people regarding the truth. هُمْ أَرْحَمُ النَّاسِ بِالْخَلْقِ. And they are the most merciful of the people to the creation. وَذَلِكُمْ بِأَنَّهُمْ مع النصوص في كتاب السنة وسيرة من نبع قبله من السلف الصالح من هذه الأمة, because they traverse upon the text from the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam, and those who passed before them from the Salaf al-Salih of the Ummah. وإن وصفوا بأنهم إرهابيون وغير ذلك من الأوصاف المنفرة. Even if the people describe them as being whatever they want to describe them as being, terrorists and the likes of that. Shaykh Ubaid, he said, وَنَحْنُ نَقُولُ لَهُمْ. We say to them, those who describe the Salafis with these despicable characteristics and descriptions, those who say whatever they say of evil regarding Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Shaykh Ubaid says, so we say to these people, بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ يَا أُقَلَاء. If you have any sense, then بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. Man al-Irhabi. Who is the true terrorist? What is a terrorist? What is a terrorist? هو الذي لا ينقب إلا ولا ذمة. He said, is it the individual who does not have respect and veneration for anyone, nor the sanctity of the blood of anyone? في المؤمن ولا معاهد. Whether that individual may be a believer or he may be يعني a mu'ahad, someone who has an agreement with the Muslims. فينتهك الأعراب, and so he transgresses against the honor of the people. يسفك الدماء, he sheds blood, and he plunders and he takes unjustly the wealth of the people, and he destroys it by way of bombings and explosions and other than that. Or is a terrorist the individual who says to you, safeguard the blood of the people, because Allah Ta'ala said such and such, and the Messenger said such and such in the Sunnah? Which of these two individuals can be truly described as a terrorist? Because only one of these descriptions fit the Ahl Sunnah, and there is no doubt the latter. Ahl Sunnah is the ones that say to you, safeguard the blood of the people. Don't shed the blood of the people. Allah says such and such in His book. The Messenger said so and so in His Sunnah. And you don't transgress against the people. Don't cut off the pathways. Don't explode yourself. Don't do this. Like the Salafis are the ones who are calling you away from these things. Yet you find that, unfortunately, you find many of the people referring to Ahl Sunnah with these horrible names. The Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam said, إِنَّ دِمَاءَكُمْ وَأَمْوَالَكُمْ وَأَعْرَابَكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ حَرَامٌ كَحُرْمَةِ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا فِي شَهْرِكُمْ هَذَا فِي بَلَدِكُمْ هَذَا. Indeed your blood and your wealth, indeed your blood and your wealth and your honor is haram, inviolable. It cannot be violated. It cannot be violated. Just as is the sanctity of this day of yours, and this month of yours, and this land of yours. Meaning the day was the day of Arafah, the month of Dhul Hijjah, one of the sacred months of Allah Ta'ala. And the place wherein he said the statement was in the Haram al-Makki. So just as these sanctities of Allah Ta'ala are inviolable, similarly it's the blood and honor of the Muslim. وقال من قتل معاهدا لم يرح رائحة الجنة. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that whoever kills a mu'ahad, yani one between he and whom, one whom there is between he and the Muslims, an agreement of peace, a treaty, an agreement. Whoever kills the individual will not smell the scent of paradise. This is the position of Al-Islam regarding acts of terrorism. So who is the terrorist? The one who violates these statements or the one who reminds you of these statements? Now, ثم هم يقولون أنتم ما تحبون محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then you have those who are truly terrorists. They say, you Ahl Sunnah don't love the Prophet. You don't love the Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasallam. لأنهم لا تقاطعون, because you don't cut off the pathways of the kuffar. وأنتم. You don't do this, you don't do that. You don't grab a weapon and go run up in a bank, so you must don't love the Prophet. You don't strap a bomb to yourself and go explode a shopping mall, so therefore you must not love Islam. This is what the people say. This is from their ridiculous statements. Now we say to them, Billahi alaykum, ما السبب الذي حمل الكفار على أن يسلكوا ما سلكوا من الاستهزاء برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والسخرية منه. We say, what is the reason that has caused the kuffar to traverse upon what they traverse upon from mockery of the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam? And some of them, they attempt to draw pictures which they claim to be the Prophet, which in reality is not the Prophet. We know how the Prophet looks. We know how he looks because we have his description in the Sunnah. They don't. And so they may draw a cartoon figure which they claim to be the Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasallam in mockery. What is that? What is the reason that led them to this mockery? What is the reason that led them to make mockery of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasallam and to belittle him? بل عرفنا من يبول على مصحف. Rather, we know individuals who may even urinate upon the mushaf, or they may set it on fire, and after they burn it and set it on fire, they put that fire out with their feet by stomping upon it. And so we say, what is the reason that led these people to do these actions? We say, no doubt, that reason is the Khawarij. That reason that brings about enmity and hatred for Islam and the Muslims, because Islam is beautiful, la shak. Anyone who who is objective and they look into the deen of Islam, no doubt it will affect their hearts positively. But what is it that has caused these people to take this kind of position against Islam and the Muslims? There's no doubt the action of the Khawarij. The action of the Khawarij, when they do whatever they do, from munkarats, from evil and despicable actions, that mar and that uglify Islam in the hearts of the people, and they do these actions openly, claiming that these actions are from the action of Islam and the Muslims. We say, Billahi alaykum, Shaykh Ubaid. He says, Billahi alaykum. حينما يرى الكفار ويسمعون هذه الأعمال الشنيعة التي يتبرأ منها الإسلام. بالله عليكم, when the kuffar, they see these statements or they see these actions and they hear these statements, these actions and these repugnant statements that Islam is free of. وأهل السنة بريئون منها, and Ahl Sunnah are free of them. ألا تزيد عداوتهم للمسلمين عداوة. Do you not think that their adawa and their hatred and their enmity for Islam and the Muslims will increase? And their dislike and their distaste for Al-Islam, do you not think that these things will increase? So you have this individual, Osama ibn Laden, and the likes of him, from the du'at and the callers to evil, and the callers to takfir, and the callers to irhab. And they are the reason for this enmity. People like them. And it's not about names, but these are some of the names. Whether they are Boko Haram, whether they are Al-Qaeda, Daesh, this group or that group. And the names are not important. The reality Ali, this is what we are concerned with. It's that reality, because the names change. Today is this, and tomorrow it'll be something else. At one point in time, they were the Haruriyah. At one point in time, they were the Sururiyah. At one point in time, they were this, they were that. And whatever they call themselves by today and whatever they will call themselves by tomorrow, the name is not important, it's about the reality. They are the reason why you find the kuffar having criticism for Islam and the Muslims, having revilement for Islam and the Muslims. He said, Alhamdulillah alladhi manna alayna bil Islam. ونسأل الله يثبتنا وإياكم وجميع المسلمين والمسلمات على الإسلام والسنة حتى نلقاه. The praise is for Allah Ta'ala who has guided us to Al-Islam. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to make us and you firm, and all of the Muslim males and females firm upon Islam and the Sunnah until we meet him. وأن يثبتنا على ذلكم بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. And to keep us firm upon that with the firm statement. La ilaha illallah. In this life as well as in the hereafter. So the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, after the chapter heading, he cited the statement of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, قُلْ هَذِي سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Allah mentioned inside of his noble book, saying, this is my straight path. I call unto Allah Ta'ala upon basira, upon clear insight, upon fiqh in the religion, understanding the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal before I attempt to call people to it. I and those who follow me absolved by Allah of imperfections, and I am not amongst the pagans or the polytheists. This verse, it brings about the following. أولا, firstly, and the da'wa ilallah ala basira, wa laysa ala jahilin wa dalal. The call to Allah Ta'ala is to be upon basira, upon insight, upon fiqh in the religion, upon knowledge. It's not to be upon jahil and ignorance. It's not to be upon misguidance, hawa, not to be upon any of these things. لأنها مؤسسة على كتاب والسنة, because the da'wah is built and predicated upon the book and the sunnah. It's built and predicated upon the book and the sunnah. Very important point. Because some of the people, they wish to utilize means that are not from the sunnah. They're not from the sunnah. And they refer to these affairs as da'wah. Whether it be plays, whether it be music, whether it be all types of bid'ah and munkarat, believing these affairs to be da'wah. Rather, the da'wah is to be upon basira. It's to be based upon what is coming in the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. So we say, did the Messenger of Allah use music as a means of da'wah? Did he use skits, plays, prank videos, and the likes of this as means of da'wah? Say la wallah. Use education, cultivation, teaching the kitab and the sunnah. This is what he used, alayhi wasallam. Calling to Allah Ta'ala upon basira. وكذلك يستعينون أهلها بسيرة من مضى على آثار النبي. Likewise, you find that we are to utilize as a means and as an aid and assistance upon that, the seerah and the way in the path of those who have passed away before and traversed upon the path of the Prophet alayhi wasallam, from the companions, the tabi'un, those who follow them with excellence, رضي الله عن الجميع. ومن هنا نقول المنتسبون إلى الدعوة ثلاثة أصناف. And at this juncture we say that those who ascribe themselves to the da'wah are three categories. Something that you find to be unique to the books of Shaykh Ubaid. He mentions these concepts and then he numbers them to make them easy for us to comprehend and to grasp and understand. He mentions the concept, then he numbers the points that are extracted from that concept or that fall under the concept. Now, so Shaykh Ubaid says that those who ascribe to the da'wah are three categories. Firstly, الصنف الأول دعاة الحق, the caller to the haq, the true callers, those who call to the truth. وهم الذين أمر الله نبيه عليه الصلاة دعوته ودعوتهم على بصيرة. They are those who adhere to the command of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, who commanded that the call of his prophet and their call is to be upon basira. To be upon basira. And we explain to you what is intended by basira. الصنف الثاني, the second category of those who are ascribed to the da'wah are Ahl Jahl, the people of ignorance. The people of ignorance. And they are those individuals who they cause corruption while intending and desiring good. They cause corruption while intending and desiring good. As you mentioned earlier, that you'll find the one who does not have basira, he does not have knowledge, he does not have insight into the religion, but he seeks to involve him or herself in da'wah. Many of the people that like this, they want to open up a social media account and start giving da'wah, and start teaching, and start sharing benefits, or translating. And this person, they have no knowledge whatsoever, no basira, no khibra in the da'wah. Rather, you have to crawl before you walk. Seek knowledge, and then once you've sought knowledge, if there's a need for your knowledge of it, which you have attained, then you spread that. You spread that. As the Prophet said, convey from me, even if it's a verse that you know, you have a sound understanding of that verse, you understand that verse properly and convey it properly, then convey to me, even if it's a verse that you know. But you have to have knowledge. You have to have insight. No? So these people of Jahl, of ignorance, they cause corruption while intending to do good. وَيَحْدَمُونَ مِنْ حَيْثْ يُرِيدُونَ الْبَنَاءَ, and they destroy while they only intended to build. Why? Because they have no knowledge. Just imagine a person, and he wakes up today, says, you know what, I would like a mansion. I want a mansion. I'm going to go and buy some wood and some bricks, and I'm going to find a plot of land, and I'm going to build my own mansion from the ground up. But he has no cognizance and awareness of the madness of construction. No awareness of how to build anything. Doesn't even know how to hold a hammer. This person, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to get out there and he's going to make a mess and destroy while intending to build. نعم فواجب هؤلاء علينا أن نبصرهم بدين الله. So these people who are ignorant, it is incumbent upon us, those who have some level of knowledge and awareness, to educate them and to teach them the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. وأن نعرفهم دعوة النبي عليه الصلاة, and to acquaint them with the da'wah of the Prophet. This is how his da'wah was. This is how he would give da'wah. Now you acquaint them with that. فَنَسْتَجَابُوا فَبِهَا وَالنِّعْمَةِ. If they respond, meaning if they accept what you give them, alhamdulillah, that's what we want. وَإِلَّا فَهُمْ عَلَى الضَّلَالِ. Otherwise, then they are upon misguidance. The third category of people who are ascribed to the da'wah, du'at al-hawa wal-fitna. They're the callers of desires and fitna. هم الذين يعتمدون في دعوتهم المضللة على أحد أمرين وقد يجتمع لهم الأمران. And they are those who, when it comes down to their da'wah, they rely upon one of two affairs, or perhaps they even combine both of them. وذلك الأمران هما. These two affairs, they are تحريف النصوص, distortion of the text. They distort the understanding of the text. They don't have its proper understanding, so they distort their ma'ani. And the second of them, الرأي المحض, and sheer opinions. Sheer opinions. Now, the second affair, going back to what we previously mentioned, that what we extract from this verse, في الآية التنبيه في وجوب التعسي بالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في دعوته. In the verse lies the obligation of taking an example of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام in his da'wah. We give da'wah how he gave. We give da'wah how he gave عليه الصلاة والسلام. And da'wah from the affairs of the religion. It's tawqifiyah. You can't make up how you want to give da'wah. وأن كل دعوة غير دعوته ليست على بصيرة. And any da'wah that is not in accordance with his da'wah, it is not a da'wah that is based upon basira. It is not a da'wah that is based upon basira. Thirdly, تنزيه الله عن النقص والعيب is a verse that contains inside of it absolving Allah Ta'ala from any type of deficiency, any type of defects. For he says, Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Naam, Subhanallah wa ma ana min al-mushrikeen. And I'm not amongst the pagans or the polytheists. So we do not make shirk with Allah Ta'ala in his rububiyyah or his ibadah or in his names and attributes. For all of that, it is musabbatun lillah. It is a type of revilement of Allah Ta'ala that it is obligatory that we be distant and far removed from. We'll stop here inshallah ta'ala and go deeper into the chapter in the next sitting bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Allah knows best. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وخير دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.